All right, we're back. Judd'z Budz, episode 113. The Wayne Gretzky plus Joel Eriksson next episode. As always, your host, Spoke Z, joined by my good buddy, Mr. At State of Hoppy. Hoppy, how the hell are we doing?
This week has been a struggle. I'll just be honest. We're powering through, though, but I just have to commend you. Either you're, totally faking it and you know exactly which episode number it is beforehand, or that was some quick work to figure out 99 plus who's a player that has, it's 14 for 113. Just a lot of moving parts there. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. I had absolutely no idea what episode it was. The browser was too small, so it cut off. So I had to open it to find out, which is why it took me a second there. But yeah, no, I mean, there's only 114 I could think of on the top of my head, and he just happens to play for the Minnesota Wild. He's a beauty, and tried to fight Matt Boldy at the Worlds. So, immediate. It was easy. I mean, I hear you. The week is. I mean, it's been a week and a half. What do you got going on, dude?
Dude, life. I have chaotic Mother's Day, have a child to keep alive, have the day job, have all the stuff with this, and it's all colliding as tomorrow I take off and have to run a whole bachelor party for my brother that goes through Sunday. And that all falls in my lap. So we're powering through. I have to survive until 11 a.m. tomorrow, and then bachelor party stuff starts, and it might be a late night coordinating and getting all my shit together here so that I can actually leave promptly. We'll see how that goes.
Is that all? All right. Well, fair enough. In that case, we should just get going here. Let you get to that. Pretty draft heavy today. But I mean, I'm assuming we'll talk a little bit at least about what's going on in the playoffs because it's the second round. So I think it was you. It wasn't Isha that was on with me that I said first week of playoffs, awesome. Second week of round one sucked for the most part, very boring, not fun game, series sucked, whatever. Round two has been an absolute fucking chaos in every series. And it's out of control. And it's I'm exhausted. Sometimes I have to take some time off. But every goddamn series has insane storylines and just the games are insane. It's making up for the second half of the first round there because it's been absolute chaos.
Yeah, there's a storyline with every series, and I honestly, the one I'm most fascinated with is Vancouver Edmonton. It's pretty. I don't know. I don't even know where to start with.
I mean, Vancouver, man.
Here's where I'll start. Earlier today, spoiler teaser, whatever, for next week, guest for Fellowship of the Rink is Mike Rupp. And he basically came right out and said that Vancouver fans are psychos and that he doesn't actually think that Vancouver's any good, but they still might beat Edmonton just because they're cowards. I'm not directly quoting him, but that's basically what he said, and it wasn't far off.
Yeah, they're nuts, dude. That, it's crazy. The Vancouver Edmonton major storyline has somehow become between Shilov's, I guess so, but even more so just the fan bases, the media people. It's all the shit off the ice. These people are fucking insane. And it's not just Vancouver, Edmonton too. Edmonton's those media guys are out of control. They're going after each other. It's insane.
How about one of the best players in the world getting chopped in the face and no one fucking cares?
No one gave a fuck.
Me. That's a little weird.
Everyone was just whoa, that's crazy. All right, moving on.
Hope he's okay.
That was a double whammy. That was just a fucking get one from behind from Zadorov, Carson Soucy, our boy Carson Soucy. I love Soucy. Who's been very good, by the way, in the playoffs for Vancouver. He's been a stud for them.
Not his fault. Yes, he crossed.
Oh, I know. That's what I mean.
Connecting, but dude, that's all Zadorov.
I'll be honest. I thought the one, and normally if you get a guy in the face, you're looking at least three. In that situation, I feel he had to get something because technically he cross-checked him in the face, but he was absolutely barely gonna get his shoulder. And then fucking Zadorov just, it was It was almost like they practiced it. Maybe they coordinated it. Like, if I get him right here, he's gonna get this low, and he's 6'1". So I think if I get him in this spot, because Zadorov's been a mutant, he's been insane. My God, that series though, Jesus Christ.
Well, but then on the opposite end of the world, we've got Brad Marchand getting punched in the face in clear daylight, and no one cares.
Everyone's like, ha 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 ha, and this is good. This is a good thing. Sam Bennett did nothing wrong. The fact that, like, I went from like laughing because the Boston Bruins or the Toronto Maple Leafs were the only team in the first round that the Bruins could be playing, where the whole like NHL at the very least isn't rooting for like Boston to lose or whatever. Now I'm dealing with the polar opposite. Everyone hates the Florida Panthers. They're annoying. By the way, their fan base sucks. Holy shit.
Do people hate the Panthers?
You forget how much you hate them until they play your favorite team, and then like, oh, they're all fucking dirty.
That, but I also will.
No, I know. So now I'm dealing with that. Those same people being like, haha, it's good that happened to Brad Marchand, and like because it's Brad Marchand, it's actually a good thing. And they're like standing Sam Bennett, and I'm like, this is fucking insane.
Sure.
And the storyline coming out of that whole thing with the league not have like, there's no way they didn't have the Sportsnet fucking angle. It was clearly like he's done this before. Whatever. I'm at the point now where I'm like, I'm too exhausted to even like spend a whole lot of like mental energy on the Marchand Bennett Panthers thing.
All right,
it's insane that it was like the league was like, nah, we're good. No, it's fine.
Hear me quick though. Like, yes, everything you just said is 100% accurate. From an objective lens, can you at least like look at the irony of all of this? That like the Bruins are basically just pissed off that they're getting bruised by someone else.
No, that doesn't make any sense. Like that exact thing doesn't make sense.
This is the exact shit that Boston has done to everybody for the past decade.
It's not true. That's the thing that's crazy to me. Everyone's been shitting on them for being soft for the last decade.
What?
Yes.
Who has done this?
Who? Everybody here. Everybody here. Yeah, they had Chara. That was it.
I'm sorry. We want the Boston locals to be the voice of reason on what the Boston Bruins are or aren't.
Who have they been doing this to?
You're telling me that they're not coming in and bullying people. Generally speaking, I'm not talking up and down the lineup, but you're telling me that this hasn't been Marchand every year.
No.
You're telling me that he's the only guy that plays like that?
No. He also has not been doing this every year.
He is way smarter about it. He picks his spots, but he is a rat fuck that always does that kind of shit. He just does
not always do that kind of shit. Like, this is the thing that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's just wrong, but that's okay. We can move on.
So you can't be objective. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
No, I can. But that's fine. It's just crazy. It's just.
Oh, that was so worth it. That was such a. You're too easy to get going, man.
Yeah, whatever.
That is the discourse out there. You know that, right? Like everyone is saying, "Oh, yeah, and it's Boston. Boston's getting their own medicine." No, like it's. I don't know.
It's not even no. The one that actually is annoying though is the ref thing, where it's like the Bruins have been getting these calls forever. Like, who decided this? Like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
I don't fucking understand it. After
is that just coming from Toronto?
Because no, it's every time I put a video out, every fucking post, it's unbelievable from every fan base.
Agree or disagree? Because this has been coming up a lot recently. It's at least gotten more steam. Officials need to be available to the media after games. They need to be held accountable.
After that game 4, when they were like, Don Sweeney's holding a press conference tomorrow, I was like, holy shit. I was like, I don't know what he's about to say. I know it's knowing Don Sweeney, it's going to be something like the actual message isn't going to be crazy, but the whole NHL, just because it's the Bruins, will be like, oh, look at them crying. What a bunch of babies. Where it's like, actually, everyone in every fan has said at one point, we should be hearing from the refs because the explanations that they throw out there, even the scouting, the referees were like, we have no idea how that goal counted. We're like, we have no clue, which is insane.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Whatever. It's really so much the referees. I mean, every series, by the way, there's just been like so much fucking referee discourse. I can't fucking take it anymore. These guys are like brutal. Every series. Yeah. Like, God damn it. But Yeah, no, Boston, Florida has been an absolute roller coaster. And then last night happened, and it was like a normal hockey game with like a few crazy plays, but nothing like egregious. And it's like, is that what the hockey is supposed to look like? Because we haven't been doing that at all for about a week. It's crazy. Thank you, Integrity Farms.
Yeah, the chat's all over it. They know the truth. It's just so fun to ruffle your feathers. Because it doesn't usually happen. Like, you usually are pretty like level on stuff. But I just knew that discourse was going to just eat at you.
Yeah, but I just don't know where it comes from.
I mean, I think this is the answer right here. This is all people remember. 2011 right. Bruins did exactly this. Plus some.
Not plus some, but okay.
Yeah, plus a little bit. But the only thing I care about in the Carolina Rangers series is that we did not have to sit through another Rod Brindamore press conference explaining how they didn't get swept, even though they got swept. That could have been a really tough look for him.
What's he gonna say? Like he's gonna be like, don't say it. We didn't get swept. Fuck, damn it. Ah, shit, I said it again.
Someone like walks in right away, grabs him and escorts him out. Like, get out of here. You're done.
Dude, that series is it? I think did that game just start?
What game?
Carolina Rangers. Did they play tonight?
No, I think it's just Dallas, Colorado tonight. It's a weird one. That, and then of course we have to mention PWHL Team Minnesota, which light plug, Fellowship of the Rink. Guest today was GM Natalie Darwitz, who is awesome. She was a very good interview. I had to slip in a little nugget there too, talking about how like you choose your opponent, you know, and technically Toronto chose Minnesota, who was the 4 seed, but really like they were tied with Boston and Boston won off a tiebreaker. And I'm like, it's so polite of you to not say the truth and what everyone's thinking. No Toronto team is ever going to choose to play a Boston team. They're afraid. And she just was like, yeah, yes, there may be some truth to that.
We're not going to roll that out. You know what? I plead the fifth. Thank you for asking.
Man.
I love that though. Just pick like it's just the extra layer of like, oh fuck you. I love that picking your opponent shit.
Oh, it's awesome.
Too fun for the NHL. They'll never consider it, but you know.
No, they'll never do fun things. But that's understandable. So let's move on from the NHL. Let's talk CHL playoffs. Where did things land? And I'm gonna be honest, I've like the last 4 or 5 days, I've been completely tuned out from it. Do we have any Wild prospects that are still participating?
Yes, most likely not for long. In the OHL, Oshawa is just getting the dog shit kicked out of them by the London Knights in the OHL Championship. They're actually currently playing, I think it's game 3?
The Zach Hyman's of the OHL, basically?
I'm trying to remember. Is it game 3 or game 4? Hold on. Come on. There we go. Yeah, game 4 is happening right now. London won game 1 versus Oshawa 8-1. Game 2, they won 9-1. Game 3, Oshawa was up 6-2 in the third period and lost 7-6 in double overtime. And they are currently losing game 4 3-0 with a couple minutes left in the first period. So London is out of control right now. They are going to now for sure sweep Oshawa tonight and win the OHL title. And the fact that it's been 8-1, 9-1, and then they come back from 6-2 to win 7-6 in double overtime, and it's already halfway through the first period, 3-0 in game 4. It's getting pretty dark. And then in WHL, our boy Caleb Parker is ripping it up in the WHL final versus Portland. I believe it's 2-1. I got to pull that up as well.
You got to indulge me here, Z. How good is Braden Yeager?
He's been sniping. Oh, they're up 3-0. Interesting. Oh, I didn't even know they won in overtime yesterday. Anyways. Yeah, no, Braden Yeager, 2 assists last night. He's been ripping it up this playoffs, dude. Like, let me pull it up. 26 points in 19 games, including 11 goals. Only 2 of those are on the power play. He's actually got a shorthanded goal in the playoffs. He's been ripping it up. So again, I remember at the time, like, obviously it was disappointing the way that draft went, but Braden Yeager's one hell of a goddamn player. I think you've got a good one.
He's not Zach Benson, but I will take him as a consolation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's having a phenomenal playoff. Our boy Kalen Parker, I believe he had at least 1 or 2 points in the first game. He's got 9 and 19 playoff games now, including 14 PIMs. Getting all over the stat sheet, but he's looked good. He's playing a lot with Matejchuk, which is always fun. Matejchuk is also just on a heater. Like, he's so fun. And Jaeger Furcus is the Furcus Circus, one of my favorites in his draft year, drafted by the Seattle Kraken. WHL, I think a player of the year, but he led them in points, and he's just like averaging like 3 goals a game down the playoffs. He's out of control. But yeah, so both of those series are 3-0 again. London's about to wrap things up in a clean sweep of Oshawa in the OHL final. And right now, again, looks like Moose Jaws just 1 away from sweeping in the WHL. So, and then the Mem Cup will have Saginaw, so we'll have Hunter Higgs going. And assuming Moose Jaw doesn't blow this, we'll still have Kalen Parker going. So that's CHL.
That's fun. So IIHF Worlds, there's a lot of Minnesota Wild participation. We obviously got to get into the Sweden versus USA stuff, but we got to lead with this, Z. Austria, just embarrassing, even though it wasn't in a successful effort, embarrassing Canada.
I was hoping. What's that?
Who is at the forefront? Not really at the forefront. But.
Our boy, Marco. I think he had an assist, and he tied the game when they 6-1 lead. He scored the tying goal there. Of course, Pajama Boy wins it. Was that in overtime? I can't remember. I think it was an overtime win for Canada. But Pajama Boy, yeah. I was hoping so hard. It was Bennington and net too, right? I was hoping Rossi would like tie it and then like give him a whack just to see what he did, because the IHF would lose it. Bennington would have been banned for life if he like went after anybody. So I was really hoping Rossi would have done that, but you know what? He decided to be the classy guy he is. But wow, what a comeback from Austria. It's a shame they couldn't fucking pull it off the window. Anytime Team Canada fucks that up, it's so good. It's just great to watch. But of course, again, Tavares just has to ruin everybody's fun, as he tends to do. Love that, like,
usually in Toronto,
these fans have turned on him and are just like, we got to get rid of this guy. They want to get rid of everybody, so we love that. Somehow they just remain in the news all the time. I don't know. What does this mean for the Leafs? Is always relevant, apparently. Like, you could always say it. Somehow they just keep fucking popping up. We can't get rid of them. So that's sad. But dude, the USA Sweden game, Boldy and Eriksson Ek just going at it. By the way, a couple goals for Johansson. He's looking pretty good at World, so maybe get some confidence back heading into next season if they don't trade him. Yeah, I know, right? Of course, he's gonna rip it up. They're gonna re-sign him. Fucking like 4x4. Their favorite contract, a 4x4. Yeah, fuck it. Everyone gets one. It's like Oprah giving out fucking iPods. Like, it's unbelievable. But Eriksson Ek and Boldy legitimately going at it. I was like, are they about to fucking start punching each other? This is crazy. I think Sweden ended up pulling that one out, right? Yeah. But I don't know. I always struggle watching the Worlds like all that closely because it's always going on. Like, it's like I can only watch. That's not true. I can watch it, but I just choose not to. Especially when the NHL playoffs are taking up so much of my goddamn energy.
Fair. But you left out. I figured you'd interject this on your own. We're not going to talk about the connection, the electricity that we're seeing out of Norway.
Well, that's going to be coming up.
Okay. Just important to note that Matt Zuccarello is part of it. Once we get to it and talk about it a little bit more, we can leave that for a later segment. Well, if that's all we're going to talk about for the Worlds, then how sad are you? I know it's nowhere near as sad as Isha, let's be clear, but how sad are you, or sad's maybe not the right word, just disappointed that Vlad Firstov, unconditional waivers, likely for buyout?
What a roller coaster. What an absolute roller coaster it's been with this kid. Like, great at UConn, especially in the playoffs for them. Goes to the AHL, one game, smell you later. Sounds like he's never. They're like, well, yeah, you can't act the way that he acted. Yeah, we'll see if they give him another chance. They give him another chance. Comes back, is great for Iowa down the stretch. Scored a bunch of goals. Like in his first 5 games, they get like 6 goals. And out of nowhere, we get the fucking update. Unconditional waivers. They're gonna just get rid of. I don't know what he is up to. It sounds like he is destined to just go back to Russia and stay there. I don't know. It's been. I was so excited when he got another chance and he was playing great in Iowa. Now he's just gone again. I don't know what is happening. I didn't look into it at all. But I just saw like the update and I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, what is he doing? Like, why are they? I need to know what it is that he just like, he's around for 10 minutes and he just pisses everybody off.
Burgers and milkshakes. Burgers and milkshakes.
Yeah, I know. He's hanging out with Ovanov. Like, God damn it. But yeah, Isha's going to be devastated.
Yeah. Tough look. I really thought he was going to be a dark horse for getting some NHL minutes next year, but apparently not the case. Not the case. Well, let's just get into the meat of what we want to talk about today. The pick is set, assuming the Wild don't trade up or trade back. We can talk about those scenarios on future episodes, but we have, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we have 7 Wild draft targets at the 13 spot for this year's draft. And just to break it down for people, there's been a lot of mocks that went out initially. I know, Z, you did yours right off the cuff from the lottery announcement. And you said Michael Bronczek-Nygård. We've seen across, The Athletic, Wheeler saying Cole Yzerman. Elite Prospects, your boy Cam also says Bronczek-Nygård. Daily Faceoff, Carter Yakimchuk. NHL.com, we got Kimmelman saying Zane Parekh, which, okay, if he's still there, cool. Moriel went with Adam Juracek, and our boy Seth on Locked on Wild says Juracek or Yakimchuk. I don't know if there's any particular order you want to go in. Who do we want to start with for your list of targets here?
Yeah, I mean, we can just, and we don't have to spend a whole lot of time because, I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum at this point. But, I mean, Michael Bronczek-Nygård, for me, is a player who should still be on the board at 13. And I just think when you look at players that they should be targeting and the type of prospect that they want to bring in, he kind of fits. He kind of just checks every box outside of being a center. Like, so that's the thing. I'm very curious to see what they're actually, if they're going to target positionally again. I don't know. I don't think they will. I don't think they will. But, and the thing with the whole, should they be targeting like centers again or whatever, I don't know how many are going to be there at 13 that you would even be more confident that, like, yeah, this should be a future top 6 center. So for me, Michael Bronczek-Nygård, he is just like the ultimate power forward, like pivot. You could put him anywhere in your lineup. He's going to play the same exact way. Like, he already plays an NHL style game, like one of the highest floors in this draft. And I still think there is a pretty high ceiling. The only question is how much more development there really is. I still think there's plenty when you just look at, like, I think he's got a whole lot of offense he can bring. He's not necessarily like an elite playmaker by any means, but that shot is unbelievable. He's shown that off at the Worlds. He scored, I think it was yesterday, from Zuccarello. Drop pass to Bronczek-Nygård to the snapshot. He's got a bomb of a slap shot. He can just, like, there's been a couple goals he scored the playoffs for Mora IK this year where he's just like doing it himself, where he just pull and drag from the circle, the face-off dot, like just an absolute missile. and then he's gonna be killing penalties for you, so he can play in the top six. He can be on your middle six. He's just, for me, he kind of just can do everything that you need him to do, and he's like, the forechecking is unbelievable. Like, he is just so good. And you can, again, the fact that you can plug him in anywhere in your lineup and ask him to do a job, and he's gonna be able to do that for you. And he's not that far away from being NHL ready. Like, so I don't like, he's gonna go back to the SHL. I forget which team now that I think about it. I should have had that ready to go. Might have been Skellefteå. He's gonna go play for Skellefteå, who's a very good SHL team. We'll see what kind of minutes he gets there. But he had a great season. Second half of the season, especially in the Allsvenskan. He had a phenomenal playoffs. He was right around a point per game in the playoffs for them, and they went to the semis. So for me, the fact that he's the prototypical pivot power forward that you could throw anywhere in your lineup. He's not that far away from being NHL ready. And like, this is the theme that we hear when we talk about prospects, is like, they're going to need some of these guys to like hit soon and like find their way into the lineup. And I think he's a guy that checks every box. So for me, he's like the exact player that I would be targeting here. So yeah, like Bronseg Igor for me is my favorite player in this draft, and especially for the Wild prospect pool. And I did get a little tip that they like him a lot. I do know this for a fact.
Lead draft son is in consideration. That's fun. You got to love too, like, you're talking all about like what he can provide offensively, to a game, whatever. I love when you start seeing circulation on Twitter of a highlight reel of just him destroying people on the forecheck. Like, that just makes me happy.
He is legitimately one of, like, that part of his game is one of the things that stands out just in terms of like why he'll be ready for the NHL so soon. Like, not only does he go in on the forecheck and win pucks, he does it and then will like establish possession. Like, a lot of his assists are just coming from him being an asshole on the forecheck, winning pucks, and then just serving up an absolute dish right out front for someone to tuck home. But I mean, that part of his game is the thing that like really stands out when you look at like the NHL style play and why he's going to be ready soon. Because it's not just him relying on points. Like, in the NHL, realistically, he's not going to be like a point per game guy, but he should be able to be like if he's a scoring winger in your top six, he can put up 60, like, no problem. Just, again, that shot is lethal, and he is such a smart player. But the fact that he can, like, the ridiculous two-way ability that he has is just so appealing to me. So I just love his, like, the reliability and just the amount of tools he has in his bag, and just the fact that he can be effective in any area of the game. Like, you're going to throw him on the ice for any situation, and he's going to do a job for you.
And the chemistry for Team Norway, are we going to get that? I know it was kind of intended as a joke, but do we see a Mats Zuccarello 4x4 coming after his current 2-year deal?
Yeah, just because, like, that's it. You know, just like, they're going to draft MBN and then immediately re-sign the dash. Not resign. Zuccarello to another 4x4. Just throw it out there. Give him more. Like, you know, we love the 4x4s.
Yes. Full no move, of course. All right. Do you have a guy you want me to go with next, or do you just want me to throw names out?
Yeah, and so, I mean, the one I'll go to next, and this is a very popular one that I do think at this point, I'll be shocked if he's on the board at 13. But when you look at the prospect pool now, especially, if you can find a way to bring in a kid like Carter Yakimchuk on the back end, he's a big, mean, right shot D-man. He's shown that he can put up crazy offense in the WHL the last 2 years. And, like, he's not even, like, it's not just like he's going bombs away from the point. Like, I was actually, this afternoon, my next video compilation I was putting together was a Yakimchuk one. Like, he's pinching down the wall, and like, he's got these ridiculous hands. Like, he's going like toe drag between the legs, backhand shelf, like spin off the wall. Like, he's pulling some offense out that like we've never seen from him before. Realistically, I don't know how much of that he'll bring to the NHL, but defensively, he is a fucking prick, and he can be a shutdown guy. And again, like, when you look at, you've already got Brock Faber here. So if you have Yakimchuk on your second pair, more of like a shutdown secondary offense type of guy, Again, like his two-way ability this year from the back end has been unbelievable for Calgary. I think he scored 30 goals as a defenseman WHL this year. And he brings that physicality element, like the abrasiveness that they don't really have a whole lot of on the back end. Like you've got guys that can play that kind of game, and like Damon Hunt, Ryan O'Rourke, like they can be mean. But Yakimchuk takes it to another level. I think he had like 125 PIMs this year. Like he is a prick to play against, and he brings it every shift. Like every shift, he's hacking somebody. Like he is mean. But I think he's a guy that a lot of NHL teams are going to be like looking to target. So if he's still there at 13, that's a great addition to that prospect pool on the back end there. Because again, he does bring that element that like you don't have in spades. Plus, if you can get a big, mean right shot D-man that puts up offense and play defense, like a very, very high level, that's always good. But I do think he most likely will be gone. But I would not, if he's sitting there at 13, that might be like they might run to the podium.
Tell me, so they're picking at 13. I don't remember who got taken 13 last year in the draft.
Was that Benson?
It was.
Yeah, yeah. You love pain. You know, you're a sicko. You know.
I'm gonna be holding on to that narrative all the way until Judd breaks my heart this year at the end of June. It's gonna be. I'm gonna have high hopes for some Zach Benson like player just dropping right there. And hey, if Yakimchuk goes that far, sign me up. I mean, the next guy you have on here though, Z, might be an even bigger reach than Yakimchuk. Maybe you'll tell me I'm wrong, but Zeev Buium, do you actually think that there's a shot at him making it to 13?
No. I think
this is a troll job because this is what the fans want. Got it.
Well, okay. I mean, that was also a reach. But like, it's interesting because like, I think especially the tournament really boosted his stock to a whole other level. Like he was on everyone's radar, like, oh, this kid might go, like, this kid's looking like a top 10 projection. And then just the way that he played in that NCAA tournament, like he was fucking phenomenal, logging like legitimately 28, 29, 30 minutes a night. And I have to say this every time. I hate the fact that anytime a defenseman puts up big offensive numbers, people that don't watch them play for more than 10 minutes are like, oh, well, you know, he's going to have to defend the NHL. Look, no, he already can do that. Like, he keeps a perfect gap. He's great defending with his stick. He is physical. And he is like, they just assume he's small. He's like 6'1". He's a big kid. And he's an excellent defender, both in zone and against the rush. Like, he is so good. I do think it's going to be shocking if he's sitting there at 13. But even though he's a left shot, like, don't care if he's sitting there at 13. That's a guy you absolutely sprint to the podium for and take him. But again, I do think he'll be gone. But my God, I wouldn't be. Yeah, that I could see him going to Utah because like people are gonna not want to let him fall much farther than like 6, 7, 8. But I do think he will be gone latest like 8 for sure.
Wow. All right, that's gonna be fun. Next one is the polarizing one that people are either like super excited or super worried about. He has scorned the Minnesota fan base largely. Are you happy if Judd goes up to the podium? And this is in a vacuum, of course. Like, I don't know who else is on the board, but if Cole Eisman is the name called, how do you feel?
Contrary to common belief, I would be thrilled if he's sitting there at 13 and you take the most decorated, prolific scorer in the USN TDP history. Like, and he's shown when he feels like it, when he is actually engaged. And I think he's smart enough to know that he can't just be a one-dimensional scorer in the NHL if he's going to go have like a meaningful career. Like, when he is engaged, like, he skates hard. He can hit hard. Like when he's engaged, he absolutely can give you more than just goals. But obviously, that's been hit or miss, especially this year. And we've seen that with just like how his stock has just like plummeted from like easy second overall to a guy that's looking anywhere from like 10 to 20. I totally get why teams are concerned about like the one-dimensional play, because it's been popping up more and more. And like even at the Worlds, like the U18 championship, I mean, he still was doing a lot of the safe shit where it's like, hey, if someone else can get the puck, like he's probably going to score, but someone else is going to have to get the puck and give him the puck. But he has shown in the past that infrequently, but at times he does show the ability to do that for himself as well. And again, like the talent level is through the roof. And again, I think he's smart enough to know that he's going to have to change the way he plays at least a little bit to be successful in the NHL. But if the best goal scorer in this draft is sitting there at 13, you can't complain if you go and take that kid. Like that shot that he possesses is comical. Like it's on and off his stick, and usually just like top corner, half a second. Like it explodes off his stick. It's unbelievable. And he's like, he moves well. So if he's sitting there at 13, that's another guy where I'm like, how do we not take the best goal scorer of the draft? Like, I think it's going to be weird that people like that reaction is going to be all over the place, because I still think it's a phenomenal pick. Like imagine 10 months ago, I told you could get Cole Eiserman at 13. Like you could do a backflip. Like what the fuck happened? So that's why I included him on this list. What?
Did he die?
Yeah, is he dead? Like, did he stop playing hockey altogether? We're just like doing muscle memory, hopefully. But yeah, I think if he is there at 13 still, it's going to be very, very hard to pass on the best goal scorer of the draft. And I do believe that, like, even if it's just a little bit of like change to his game, I still think he's going to be a very, very successful NHL player. He's going to score a ton of goals.
Yeah, I think we're going to be talking a ton about Michael Brownsegg-Nygård and Cole Eiserman and the guarantee of what MBN is versus the ceiling floor gap on Eiserman. It's going to be interesting to see, like, if both happen to be there. I don't know which way Judd goes.
And like the thing is too, it's funny because like especially after last year, like the one thing that we hear from people all the time is like, please just go best player available, or like please go with the highest ceiling available. Cole Eiserman is that guy.
Highest ceiling.
And people will still be very mad about it.
Oh, yeah, no, not that one.
Yeah, not that ceiling, not that guy. Different one. Pick a different ceiling. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Like it really isn't. So that's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least. Another guy that I know earlier in the year you had a lot higher on your board, and it's not necessarily that he's played poorly. It's more that other people have elevated their game. Talk to me about Consta Hellenius. One, is it realistic that he's available at 13 in your eyes? And two, how do you stack him up against some of the names we've already talked about?
So he's going to be a fascinating one to watch, because realistically, after the season that he put up in Liga, that first Finnish division, like, I mean, he put up crazy points for a guy that like high skill and goal scoring or whatever isn't necessarily like the thing that you look at with him being like, oh yeah, some of the best hands or whatever in this draft. Like he just plays such a fucking reliable two-way game, and the offense is legit, but like he popped off in Liga, which is like he had one of the best scoring seasons in like draft eligible player history in Liga, like in that league. And I think realistically, and it's funny because I went through a bunch of other mock drafts, and it's like all of us have Hellenius going to the Devils. Like it just makes so much sense for them to do. But like I do think he can play center in the NHL. Like he's not the biggest kid in the world, but he's not like tiny or whatever. So he's gonna have to figure that out. But even if he's a winger, like that's another solid two-way player that gives you legit offense. And I think like he has so many different tools in his bag to make himself a useful player. And the fact that he played so well in Liga this year, I don't think he's going to be all that far off from being NHL ready, like very soon as well. Like when you ask a lot of people who cover the draft or whatever, like if there's anyone that could potentially jump into the NHL as soon as next season, like Hellenius comes up a lot as like a potential sleeper. Like, so I think realistically, this year that he put up probably solidified him like going right around 10. But when you look at some of the defensemen in this draft, we know how much NHL teams love defensemen and like taking them early. And usually they go earlier than like any other like scouting outlet has them. There's a scenario where he does end up being available at 13, and that's another guy that I think they'd be very interested in. Just again, given the two-way ability, the fact that he's already shown that he can play pro in Finland, which is a very, very good and a hard league to score in. Like even not just for draft eligibles, just in general. Like there's very few players over there that put up crazy offensive numbers because it's such a defense-oriented league. So the fact that he did what he did this year was incredible. Well played, Cosgrove. Does he know how to finish? Yes, he does. And yeah, the U18s, it was hit or miss. I thought he was really good the first like game or two, and then Finland as a whole just did not perform well whatsoever. But like there was definitely flashes in there. So, but yeah, I think again, combination of the tools that he brings and like the timeline where he might be ready to play pretty soon, that's gonna be a very appealing pick. It's difficult because it's like it's kind of a similar profile to MVN somewhat, but I think there's probably more offensive upside with Hellenius, but that'll be a decision that they're going to make, and maybe they look at the fact that he could potentially be a top 6 set in the NHL, and they would lean towards Hellenius on that front too. So sure. I think the flexibility in terms of like positional for him, like that might be the most appealing option for them if they want to go forward. And again, just given the fact that we know how much NHL teams love taking defensemen earlier than everybody else, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he's sitting there at 13, and that's another phenomenal pick if you can get him there.
And what do we think then about one Igor Chernyshov?
Yeah, this would be a reach for me, but like I love Chernyshov, and he also he plays center in Russia. He played a little bit in the KHL. They did the thing where like, yeah, he'll come up and play maybe 3 minutes, but then he goes down to the MHL where like, I would say the season was somewhat hit or miss. There are games that he would absolutely take over, and he scored some Sports Center. He actually was Sports Center top 10. He did score a goal. They went top 10 at Sports Center this year, but like he's got some ridiculous hands and skill in his bag. It just doesn't come out as often as we'd like it to. So for me, probably a little bit of a reach, but again, just like another guy that can kind of play up and down your lineup. He's not just all offense. He plays he's another kid with a reliable two-way game, but the skill really can pop off at times. So I like him a lot. I'm curious to see where he actually ends up going. I think he'll probably go closer like the 20 range or so, but I totally get the appeal if he goes that early.
All right. That one was pretty brief. What shout out Michael Russo. We're going to say your draft grandson, Adam Juracek. How do we feel? Is he another one like Chernyshov where you think a little bit of a reach, or is this a guy that you think is primed to go in the early teens?
So with him, again, at this point, last year or even like before he got hurt this year, this was his range. And I still think given like the right shot D, the size, the offense, and like watching him just like you cannot forecheck this kid. It is very like sometimes he will actually toy with forecheckers where like he'll invite them in and then just like go around his own net a few times and just like make the chase. And then breaks the puck out and starts transition with ease. The thing that's going to hold him back from going as early as like 12 to 20 is how afraid teams are of these knee injuries, because like he has not played since he got hurt. And even at the beginning of the year, it was like pretty hit or miss. Like he would go and play against his own age group and dominate, and then go play like when he would get games in that first division over there, the pro league in Czechia, like it was not going well at all. So I mean, given the fact that play's been up and down, but we've seen the highs be some of the best of any right shot D, well, any D in this draft. I still think there's a chance he's going to go right around this range. I think Wheeler mocked him like 14 or something to the Sharks, I want to say. But I think most people still have him firmly in the first round, despite the fact that he's had these really, really bad knee injuries now. So it'll be fascinating to see. But like before the injuries, this was another one that very high on everyone's like wild target list, just given the fact that he's a right shot D. He's got the size and the offensive upside like through the roof. So I like him a lot. I still would be comfortable taking the first round, 13, just given who else is going to be available that you're like a little bit more sure on. I probably feel safer with other guys, but just given like his whole profile, the type of player he is, I would still like imagine that they like him a whole lot. And I do think that he still goes first round, despite the fact that he had these knee injuries, but we'll see. But if they take him, I wouldn't be upset about it at all. Just because, again, he's another guy that they don't really have in their pool. Like Yakimchuk's a whole other level, but I think, again, he'll definitely be gone. Yurchek should still be available around 13. I wouldn't be shocked if they went that route, but I think other guys just make me feel safer, even if the upside isn't as high.
That's reasonable. We got a couple then from listeners. What up, Dan Bradley? Any chance Sam Dickinson falls that far, or is his range going to be strictly within the top 10?
I would be absolutely shocked if he goes later than like 8, like another guy, because this was coming into this year. He was everyone's first, second, or third guy off the board on the back end. And I mean, he had an absurd year this year for London. The big question is going to be how much of his like production, like he put up 70 points in the regular season, is plus 56. But the big thing, his calling card is his defensive game and his skating ability and the fact that he can play left or right. So I think the numbers in terms of his offense were probably a little bit inflated just by playing on that loaded London team where like he can touch the puck and like 2 seconds later, like he out of nowhere has an assist. Like it's crazy. But like the mobility is absurd. The defending is NHL like quality already. So like, I don't know if he's necessarily a guy that'll be a number 1 defenseman, but he could be like a solid 2 with a guy that's kind of driving the offense on their side. But like he's also shown the offensive ability this year, especially. So he has that in his bag, but like that shutdown defensive ability is going to be his main calling card. But if something went drastically wrong, if he falls outside the top 10, for sure. He's going to go very, very high in this draft. And the other reason he might not be like the second or third defenseman off the board is just because of the years that guys like Perek, Buyum, Levshunov had. Like realistically, Levshunov was everyone's before. And now it's like Salayev because he's big and mobile, whatever. But he didn't do anything to hurt himself this year. It's just the fact that like the years those guys had are insane. So, if he's sitting there at 13, you fucking that's a guy you sprint to the podium for, because like such a high floor and the ceiling's legit that he's shown this year too with his offense that he's got, without it necessarily being like his main calling card.
All right, we're fans of that. I don't know why you would possibly go with a defenseman when MBN, Yzerman, Seneke, or Ginla are likely on the board.
I think Ginla will definitely be gone by 13.
I think that's been established. Yeah. Originally, like, what was it? Just a month and a half ago? It's like, yeah, Ginla's a prime target. And then, like, it felt like every week he inched up another, like, 2 or 3 picks.
And I finished that Ginla video and I sent it to you. His highlight reel this year, oh my, every point that he put up was outrageous. Like, every goddamn point. Like, he can do everything offensively. And he also, like, just given the fact that he's a pretty good mentor at home in Jerome Ginla that, like, helped him, like, round out his game as well. But, yeah, I wonder if he's sitting there and Calgary doesn't take him, there are going to be so many angry fans.
I think he goes 1 or 2 picks before them, and they're all.
I mocked him to Seattle the pick before. I mocked him to Seattle to pick before just to be an asshole.
Yes.
But hey, he played junior in Seattle too, so we'll see.
How are ya? And I mean, to counter it, off the Iginla topic, right? We're just talking, hey, defensemen. Why would you take them when, like, there's just that good of a spread offensively? And we've got so many defensemen. Like, I'm with Cosgrove. Like, when you're this high up, you pick for what you need, or not what you need. You pick the best guy available, and worst case, you package them up and find something you need.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's been what, like, I've talked about since we started this fucking show. Like, everyone's like, they have so many, like, guys in their prospect pool on the back end that look like obviously they're not all going to play. Like, yeah, the fact that there are that many and they don't need to, like, rush them into the NHL right now gives you time to let them develop. And, like, hey, we know this guy probably is going to be the one that's going to play here. This guy might not play here, but he's going to have real good value. Other teams might be interested in. Like, it gives you so much flexibility there. So, yeah, no, I don't think, like, being loaded at one position is a bad thing whatsoever. And I mean, we've seen them already make a couple of moves in terms of, like, free agents that they've signed. But before they did that, I was curious to see, like, in the middle rounds, they start targeting a goalie. Now I'm less convinced because they've already picked up a couple, but.
I mean, you could go the Brian Burke route, which is literally every year you should take at least one goalie.
Yeah, he's not the only one too. The guy at NHL, I was actually listening to the dude who runs Central Scouting. He was like, it was funny because he's like, yeah, like I would probably run with that. Like, that's usually a good idea. But then he just goes, it also depends on, like, where you're picking, like what type of goaltenders in the draft. I'm like, wait,
so you just basically canceled everything you said.
It was unbelievable. Like, he rattled off, like, every, like, thing that you think about when you're picking players. He was like, yeah, it depends on, like, where you're picking, how many goalies there are in the class, how good they are. I was like, wait a minute. So, yeah, no shit, bro. You're not, like, in the fourth round, like, fuck, we have to take one goalie. This kid plays.
I'd love to hear that person.
I was dying laughing.
In centers, like,
I was dying laughing. I was like, wait, so yeah, it depends on, I don't know, every factor when you're taking a player. Okay, fine.
Man. Mateo, I think everyone forgot Healy still exists, and defensive side at Harvard. Wait, defensive side at Harvard. Oh, he still looks damn good. Okay, like, saying his defensive ability's not there is what I'm taking from that. I don't know. Whenever the grammar's off, my brain gets thrown off. So
yeah, so Healy went all the way off this year on a very shitty Harvard team. So, like, I think he was right around a point per game, and then he ended up being like -20 something just because Harvard was so bad. They lost all of their top guys this year. I think they ended up winning like 7 games. But he was phenomenal, and there were a couple games that I just, like, needed to track his ice time just to be, because I was curious. Like, it was like 30 minutes. Like, he was easily their best player this year, like, at every position other than, like, goalie, But yeah, he was phenomenal. He was real good at Harvard on a very bad Harvard team. So, like, it's a tough combo when you're an offensive defenseman on a shitty team. Like, you're going to put up good points, and you're going to be in the running for the Masters, Like, the green jacket might be looking pretty good when you're -25.
Eric Carlson doesn't agree.
He doesn't give a fuck. Yeah.
All right. We did it. And, like, this is a rare one, Z, that we're keeping under an hour. This is uncharted waters. Any last thing you want to drop in here that we left out or is top of mind that we can't wait until next week on?
Well, Kieran just threw it in here. Who the hell is his 6'7" centerman, Dean Letourneau, that's starting to be ranked in the first round? He's a kid, so he's going to be going to BC in not next year, the year after. I think he's going there. So he's playing, like, high school hockey, basically, like, in Canada. I think there's a very good chance he does end up going first round because, like, he's putting up absurd numbers. But he does play like an actual, like it's not just him like torching like public, like high school hockey leagues. Like he is legit. So I know that teams do love. I think Bobby Mack ended up putting him right at the end of his first round the last time he did it. But it's always gonna be a question of like the quality of competition. So like it's tough to gauge. But I mean, you're also looking at like another draft eligible who will probably go in the first round this year, Tarek Parasak from Prince George, who played a lot with Riley Height. This was like he was playing like high school hockey in Canada until this year, his first year playing in the WHL. He put up 100 and like, he was top 4 scoring the WHL. And when you look at Letourneau's game, the fact that he's that big and he's fucking mean too, but like he's got ridiculously soft hands and just can score. He's a playmaker. He plays a good 2-way game too, so that's why he's got a whole lot of guys that like him a lot. It's just tough to gauge how much of it is going to translate, and you're not going to know until he actually goes to BC, really. But I would be shocked whatsoever if he goes tail end of the first round, just given like the upside there is insane. Because like some of the plays that he's making are like, doesn't matter who he's playing against, like that's gonna work. But yeah, so he is fascinating. Like I am all in on figure out where the fuck he goes and just tracking him until he makes it to the NHL, because he's no doubt an NHL player. It's funny, the guys at Sparks are like, we're not fucking ranking, we're not doing it. Like this, he stresses me out. It's really funny. Someone like wasn't at our mid-season ranking thing. There was this dude that wasn't at our mid-season ranking like conference call, and he just like replied to our like, here's the rankings, guys. Let us know if you have any like issues for the guys that weren't here or didn't attend the call. And someone just goes, thank you for not fucking ranking Letourneau. And I was like, that's gonna be a mistake. But like, all right. It's really funny. He stresses me out.
See, next time you guys meet, you need to be like, I think Letourneau's going like 17.
I think like we put him top 10, eh, fellas? Top 10.
Just record that clip, get it over to us. We'll throw that up on the YouTube channel. Everyone can get a laugh.
Yeah. The only other thing I wanted to add too, because I was laughing about it, the day after we did, or it was like the day after the lottery or whatever. So when we did the full mock, well, the lottery mock, I guess.
Yeah.
I put Seneke to the Blues because it's just like he's such a St. Louis Blue guy. Like that's exactly the type of player they want. The first 4 mock drafts I looked at the next day, Seneke, St. Louis. I was like dying laughing. Like there were a bunch that had the same 16 players, just like all over the place. But like there was a couple that without fail was like Seneke to St. Louis, Seneke to St. Louis. So I was dying laughing. I was like, yep, that makes so much sense, and it's we'll see. But so I feel like that's the one, and I think on the fucking live stream, I was like, this is actually the one I'm most confident. This will happen. Like Seneke is gonna be a St. Louis Blue for sure.
I gotta see if there's a prop out there for that.
Right?
Oh, fun. All right. Well, we did it. Pavelski scored. Stars on the board. Thank you, Sean Cosgrove. But
Stankoven, unreal.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew this, Z, but everyone in the world on Twitter actually was the only person that knew Stankoven was going to be good. So please stop talking about him. Do you even know what his first album was? No. She goes to different school. So man, this is the shortest one we've had in probably a year and a half.
I know. I'm like almost uncomfortable. I'm like, this is weird. Like I don't like it.
All right, I'll just stand up and you can just like sit here and talk to yourself while you watch the Stars and the Avalanche.
Wait, can I ask you what? This is not prospect related. What like Valeri Nichushkin?
Sucks.
I don't know. I am not comfortable whatsoever throwing an opinion out there, because on one hand you have the people that are saying, yeah, the shit that happened was it last year or 2 years ago? It was last year with the hotel.
Yep.
That was bad. like
not great.
You're not like no one's gonna be like, oh, he like. There's not really a sensitive way of be like, hey, that was fucked up.
There's no spin zone.
But then it's just so weird if he's like, he violated, was it like the stage 3 or whatever? So they like suspend him without pay for at least 6 months. And I was like, geez, what the fuck did he do? But then like I saw other people like
the past 6 months, right?
then I saw people like, it's kind of fucked up if he has like a legit problem. The NHL is like, oh, fuck you. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. But then Jack Johnson was like, he's not here. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah,
like,
also like the NHL isn't saying fuck you. They're like literally protecting him and saying like the team cannot part ways with you. Like you are part of this team. They cannot let you go for like substance.
Yeah, I think anytime I see suspended without pay or whatever, I'm always like, oh, it just sounds automatically like, oh, that's kind of fucked.
Sure.
But even like again, Jack Johnson after the game was like, he's not here. That's all to say about that.
Well, yeah, he made it.
It's like, oh shit. Yeah, that's what he said. That was like, ooh, fuck. Okay, I don't know.
Get it though, man. Like, and you can both can be true, right? Like, you can be pissed off as a teammate because, dude, there's an argument out there for Valeri Nichushkin being their best player in the playoffs this year. So it sucks to lose him. And like, again, from everyone's frame of mind, like it's a selfish decision he made. He did make a decision, but at the same time, it's fucking disease. Dude needs to get help. I just hope he gets that help that he needs. Because at a certain point, like you can only have so many relapses before it's like, all right, that what further can we do to help you? But this is his first, like, this is the relapse, at least the one that he got caught on since the big incident. This is his kind of last, like, wake-up call to be like, dude, what the fuck? If he doesn't figure it out now, there's no hockey career, period.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, that's like what you said too. Like, that's the exact reason. I'm like, I don't, like, it's wild to me that people feel comfortable throwing, like, opinions.
It also sucks that, like,
I'm like,
they ask the players right after the game and they're not ready to talk about it. Emotions are high. And that's why I don't blame Jack Johnson for his comment. He's just like, he made his decision. That's all I got to say. I'm not mad at him for that. Dude.
No,
Jack
that's
Johnson, the shit he's seen, his parents robbed him blind, put him in a bankruptcy. Yeah. That guy can say what he wants. Then again, Jim Rutherford basically made him whole again, so.
He's like, I got you, bro. I'll fix that.
What a disaster. That's almost as bad as everything Ron Hextall did. No, it's not.
Yeah. No. I don't know. It's just fucking crazy. Like that. The whole scenario. I don't know. That shit gives me I don't like it. So I hate seeing that shit.
It sucks. Yeah, but there's no way around it.
Yeah.
And
so that's a positive way to end it.
But now Colorado has their convenient excuse for why they're going to lose to an absolute wagon of a team in the Dallas Stars.
Bro, the fact that Wyatt Johnston scored that goal after stripping Cale Makar on the forecheck, I was like, oh my God. Like, he is. Credit the fucking goddamn scouting staff in Dallas, as everyone said a million times already. Wyatt Johnston did not play a single fucking hockey game in his draft season because of COVID. And they were like, we don't give a fuck. We're taking him to 20. And he comes and fucking lights it up.
So, dude, I wasn't aware of this until recently, and you probably already knew this, but basically all of Detroit's like scouting staff, after they went on their tears of bringing in guys like Zetterberg and Datsuk, the deep pulls, the majority of them ultimately ended up in Dallas.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a track record here. Like, this is a legit scouting group, and it is terrifying. And I don't remember what the rationale was that they were let go or kicked to the curb, but they're still doing the thing.
Yeah, no, they didn't get worse at this. It's unbelievable. God damn it. What, like, if you're going to take over as GM for any team in the league, how do you not fucking be like, Dallas, I don't have to do anything. We're good for like 15 years.
Oh, wait, I don't have to, like, the Sagan and Ben contracts are just going to fall off in a few years, and then I can just give all that money to our good players that we already have that are like 15 years old. Yeah, I'm in.
Oh, Heiskanen's already locked up. Great. Cool.
Kind of good at the hockey.
Yeah.
That's what we got. We did it. We kept her brief. It still feels a little awkward, but we got things we got to do. You guys all go and either watch Colorado Dallas or highly recommend tuning in for the current 0-0 game between Team Minnesota and Team Toronto beginning the second period. But that's what we got.
Well, Oshawa scored 1 goal, and then London immediately scored right after, so it's now 4-1.
It's all over. Sad.
All right. Yeah, we'll be back next week, in theory. Always have to add that. Just have to add. You never know.
It's a hypothetical until it happens.
Yeah.
Schrodinger's podcast.
Yeah.